Hey guys, Ryan here. In today's video, I'm going to be going over what I think are the best guns in Warzone right now, and I'm going to be doing that by breaking it down into 3 different sections. First, I'm going to be covering close range guns, and this will include sniper supports, then mid to long range ARs, and then I'm going to be ending it by talking about snipers. If you enjoyed the video, you don't have to like, you don't have to subscribe, but if you do, it really helps out a channel like mine. And if you want to know what the attachments are, just go down below in the comments in the description, and that's where I'll have them. But let's get into it, guys. So for the close range, there's going to be 3 main sections I'm going to break this into. SMGs, sniper supports, and then shotguns. So for SMGs, I would really recommend the Modern Warfare MP5 or this new Cold War OTS-9 for up close. The Cold War MP5 is still very good, but maybe not as good as those guns. In solos duos, the nail gun is a very viable competitor. And then, of course, the AS Val is the other kind of close range AR SMG that I really recommend using. If you're kind of wondering why you should use one over the other, the Modern Warfare MP5 is not as mobile as the Cold War MP5 or the OTS-9, but it's more mobile than the AS Val, and it just has a really strong time to kill right now, and it just feels great, and it has good hip fire, good handling stats, and just feels amazing right now. I would still really recommend, though, trying out the new SMG, because in solos, duos, and even trios, for example, I think quads, it can be iffy. It is a absolute animal. It only has 40 bullets, but it has right now the best time to kill of any SMG in the game, and it really dominates up close. But it only has a 40 round mag, and you will chew through the bullets, so it's kind of like the Fennec, but a lot more mobile and maybe a little better. The other thing, though, is if you can hit 1 or 2 headshots, guns like the PPSH, the MAC-10, and the Bullfrog can absolutely destroy any of the guns I mentioned, because just 1 or 2 headshots in the long range, up close in the mid range will absolutely turn fights. That is a big part of the whole change, and it's something to keep in mind. And speaking of those guns I just listed before, if you want a more mid-range SMG, maybe something to use with the snipers, I'd really recommend an MP7, the Milano, the Bullfrog, or the PPSH, or maybe even the MAC-10. All of those guns are going to offer good damage at mid-range and close, and as I said, if you hit 1 or 2 headshots, you can turn the tides of a fight and absolutely destroy kids up close, and you're going to have that mid-range capability. The Cold War AK and XM4 can still be used as sniper supports, although they got nerfed pretty hard in that capacity, and is very kind of reliant on you hitting a headshot to really compete with the Modern Warfare MP5, the OTS-9, and the AS Val and whatnot. As for shotguns, guys, I have to really stress this. I found that guns like the Gallo, the Jak 12, and even a couple others like the Doof and whatnot are absolutely dominant this season because they didn't really get nerfed at all. So every other close range gun went and got nerfed, but these guns really didn't. I've been running the Gallo in solos, duos, quads, trios, and resurgence on Verdansk, and it has been destroying. The damage is insane. The only issue is the long reload time and trying to deal with it if you run out of bullets, but for the most part, it is insane, and I really think shotguns have a new place in the meta because of the nerfs to close range guns. So guys, just to wrap up this whole close range section, I really think the Modern Warfare MP5, the OTS-9, the AS Val, shotguns, the MP7, the Bullfrog, PPSH, MAC-10, Milano, all of those are really good. But as I said, it depends on what you want to use it for and make your decision based off that. And as I said, do not sleep on shotguns, specifically the Gallo and even the Jak 12 right now. Now, let's get into the mid and long range AR discussion. Because last season, these guns were absurd, they were laser beams, they were broken, but this season, things are a little different. For example, I really think the Krig, the Grau, the C58, the M4A1, the FARA are all kind of top tier. I'd even put the Stoner up there, but they all kind of have flaws and drawbacks, and they're nowhere near as powerful as they were last season. For example, the C58 is really strong right now, and I really recommend for people to still use it. I've been running with the 4x scope, but statistically and even field wise, it's not the same beast as it was last season. I still think it's absolutely top tier. Same with the Krig, same with the FARA, same with even like things like the Grau and Stoner, but I'm just not sure that's the same power. And so many guns got a little bit more kick added onto them as well. The FARA and Krig, even itself, don't feel as much of laser beams at really long distances, and I think that's huge. It's something to keep in mind. I think almost anything is very viable. It's almost a feel thing at that range when it comes to ARs, because any of the mid to long range ARs, the Ram 7, AMAX, the FARA, the C58, the M4A1, the Krig, the Kilo, if you can just hit your shots with those, that's going to be the most important thing because of how they change the time to kill. If you can just hit your shots, then whatever gun you're more comfortable hitting your shots with is going to be absolutely one of the key things. But I would still say I would really recommend using the Krig, C58, the FARA, the M4A1, and maybe even something like the QBZ. That's for the long range. But now if you're looking for a more mid-range AR, so something that's not good really beyond 100 meters, but really specializes between 30 and 75 meters, I would really recommend the Cold War AK or the XM4. Both those guns come with a little bit more recoil, but with the benefit of having more damage. They are no longer able to really compete with the best SMGs up close now, but in the mid-range, they're going to be really, really good, and if you can even hit one headshot at almost any range, they're going to destroy. The XM4 and Colder AK really fit into this mold, but I still think the Ram 7 and AMAX can be used very similarly, especially if you hit one or two of those headshots. I also think the M4A1 also fits into this class because at long ranges, it does have a little bit of too much kick for some people. So just to wrap up the ARs and everything, for the long range, I'd really recommend the C58, the FARA, the Krig, the Grau, M4A1, Stoner, and those are the main things I'd focus on. There's a couple other really good ones, and I think there's going to be some sleeper guns coming out. But in the mid-range, if you're looking for kind of an AMAX, I would go for the Cold War AK or the XM4, also the M4A1, Ram 7, and AMAX. Now, guys, if you did pay attention to any of that long-range AR part, you're probably going to want to pay attention to this next sniping part because I think this is a key part happening right now. And it's that long-range snipers like the HDR, the ZRG, and even guns like the Swiss and Kar 98, almost any sniper, have gained a good bit of power because of the nerf to the long-range ARs. In the last couple weeks, long-range ARs were absolutely able to just melt and destroy snipers with ease. But now, because there's added recoil and guns that don't have a lot of recoil, like the Grau and Krig, come with less power, there's now a noticeable difference in what it feels like to run a sniper. You don't feel as oppressed just trying to run around and snipe people because it's a lot harder for them to hit shots. And with the added flinch bonus to guns like the Swiss and Kar 98, it is really easy to hit your shots in those long-range gun battles. I will also say that the HDR, ZRG, and Tundra long-range snipers like that have gained a really big boost because of the changes to the ARs. They are super, super effective in the long range now because at 150 meters, almost nothing can compete with them aside from another sniper. There's going to be almost no AR that can put down consistent damage enough. The Krig, Grau, and Kilo can because of their low recoil, but it's still going to feel somewhat like a pea shooter at that range, and you're going to have to hit a lot of shots. I'm talking 10 plus shots to kill someone at that range. So that's why I think long-range snipers have really gotten a big bonus this season. So if you're a more aggressive sniper, use the Kar 98 or Swiss, but if you really want to snipe kids from afar, the ZRG and the HDR are kind of the kings at that. But of course, the Tundra and AX50 can be used, but I would really recommend the ZRG and Tundra. So guys, I hope you guys just understand right now, I think the main thing that's going on is you have a lot of personal choice. In the close range, whether you want to use an SMG, the AS Val, or shotguns, you can. You have a ton of different choices. In the mid to long range, it's not just the FARA or the C58 or Krig anymore. There's a ton of different options. I think there's going to be about 5 to 7 viable guns that you can use at almost any point. And in the sniper category, there's about 4 or 5 snipers, maybe even 6, that can all be used extremely effectively and are all good. So the main thing is use what you want, find the things that work best for you. And I will say within the next couple weeks, I think the really, really broken things are going to rise to the top. I think guns like the Modern Warfare MP5, the AS Val, the OTS-9, they may get nerfed a little bit. I may even think shotguns may get nerfed, but they may not. We have to see. We don't know what they have in mind, and maybe the data won't support these guns getting nerfed or changed. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below. You guys don't have to like, you don't have to subscribe. I just want to say thank you guys for watching this video, especially if you made it to this point. I hope you have a good day. It's been Ryan. Peace.